about Montana's, where they got their crispy chicken wings and their great ribs. Oh my goodness, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And, oh yes, how about that $100 gift card for Zoo? That'd be awesome too. Doppler chicken.
Hi, Joy Only.
I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to Comedeorological Weather Report. Caribou Weather do it every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Atlantic Time. Joey Only's a really nice guy. He lives in Wells, British Columbia. He does weather reports, and you can check him out on YouTube. Caribou Weather Dude. Joey Only, Comedian plus Meteorology. Joey Only's a really nice guy. You can check him out on YouTube channel. Caribou Weather Dude, Comedian plus Meteorology. Joey Only. Joey Only's a really nice guy. He lives in Wells, British Columbia, Canada. I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to Comedian Meteorological Weather Report. Joey Only. Say hi, Joey Only.
Hi, Joey Only.
What's good, Joy Only?
Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather, whether or not. There it is.
This is Frankie MacDonald, my old TV station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Massive Hurricane Fiona is now head towards Nova Scotia on Saturday, September 24th, 2022. It's going to bring up to 100 plus millimeters of rain and more. It's going to bring so much rain. Winds are going to be really strong. That's going to damage houses. It's going to damage buildings. It's going to bring down power lines and snap tree branches after. That's going to do some destruction. It's going to bring some big waves crash on beaches, shores in Nova Scotia. There'll be gigantic waves in Nova Scotia. It's also going to hit Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, including Sydney, Nova Scotia, Summerside, and Cavendish, and all these places. It's going to hit Lunenburg, Liverpool. It's going to hit Anchorage, New Glasgow. Winds are going to be so strong, it's going to knock out power. I recommend people to have your emergency kits and medical kits ready. When a hurricane gets real bad, get inside your house so you can be safe. Make sure you have a lot of extra batteries ready, a lot of candles ready, battery operated lanterns ready, generators, and bottled water ready as well. Make sure you have your crank up radio ready as well, because it's going to bring powerful hurricane winds. It's going to bring damage winds. People in Nova Scotia, be prepared. Have your rubber ready, raincoats ready, when you go outside. Wear regular rubber tray raincoats to keep dry. Order pizzas and order Chinese food. Buy cases of Pepsi, buy cases of Coke. Do your grocery shopping. Don't wait till the last minute. Do it right now. Make sure every Samsung Galaxy charge, Samsung Galaxy smartphone charge, Samsung Galaxy tablet charge, smartphone, cell phones, laptops, tablet charge. Have your 3G, 4G, and 5G and LTE array as well. Make sure to stay indoors and don't go outside. Stay away from the beaches and don't go near shores, because it's going to bring powerful hurricane winds in Nova Scotia, including Halifax, Nova Scotia, Cape Breton Island, including Sydney, Nova Scotia, including Cape Breton Highlands National Park. If you have anybody live in Nova Scotia, be prepared for Hurricane Fiona on Saturday, September 24, 2022. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in a hurricane. Stay dry, be safe.
Good morning, Prince George, and good afternoon, Winnipeg. This is the Comedeorological Report. Comedy plus meteorology equals Comedeorology. I haven't said that in a while. Yeah, it felt good. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada, and I am your host, Joey Only, here in Wells, British Columbia. Special shout out to all you meteorology students at the University of Winnipeg. It's because of you that people are going to know about the weather someday. So you're very special, and this show is partly for you. I hope you enjoy it, and it's definitely the first episode in a while, because I've been busy. I don't just talk about the weather, I do something about it too. I've been fighting forest fires in British Columbia. I'm a crew boss of a wildfire outfit. And so I've got lots of stories to talk about if anyone cares to ask me. But we have already a bunch of our longtime regulars showing up, which includes, of course, always Frankie MacDonald. Right now, he just went through a hurricane in Nova Scotia last weekend. So Hurricane Frankie, he's going to be on here momentarily. Brandon Houck from Brooks, Alberta. He's a producer of radio in that small city. And right now he's producing a Brooks Bandits hockey game. So it's really interesting to have him sort of sitting there in the studio. Right now he's like, the first period's about to start. He's doing it. He's Brandon Houck. And then Imogen Cookie Bailey, she's down in Victoria. It's been over a month since we've had a show. It's been a long time, and I'm back I'm ready. I'm physically able. And as soon as Frankie MacDonald's here, we're going to have him on. But welcome to the show, everyone. You're tuned into 88.7 FM CFUR in Prince George every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. and noon on 95.9 in Winnipeg. So that's your station identifications, CKUW. Welcome once again. And Frankie MacDonald, the weatherman himself, he's just connecting to audio. He's right now probably outside in Sydney, Nova Scotia. He is.
Frankie, the weatherman. Frankie, the weatherman. Who? Frankie. Who? Frankie. Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie.
Frankie MacDonald, welcome to the show. We're already recording. You've just had a hurricane. I haven't talked to you in a month. So good to see you. How you doing so far?
I'm doing great so far. You're fighting for the whole month. It was so busy because of very busy fire season. It was warmer than average temperatures in British Columbia. But British Columbia's going to get a lot of atmospheric river soon. That last year, Abbotsford got no power because so much flooding in atmospheric river, so much rain in Abbotsford in those places.
Tell us about the hurricane, Frankie.
It
We
was
want to
so
know,
bad.
like,
Here comes the story of the hurricane.
This is Frankie MacDonald, my own TV station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Winds are getting really strong. It's getting higher gusty winds right now in my area, Sydney, Nova Scotia. And Hurricane Fiona has become a post-tropical cyclone just right now. Winds are getting stronger right now. It's a hurricane-style post-tropical cyclone Fiona. The power is going to be widespread. It's going to do a lot of damage and bring down power lines, snap tree branches in half. Big waves are getting bigger, and post-tropical cyclone Fiona as a hurricane is near Sydney, Nova Scotia. As of right now, winds are getting gusty high right now. I want everyone to be extra prepared. Winds are going to be mighty strong. Winds are getting highly strong. It's going to knock on power. I recommend people to have your extra batteries, generators, battery operations, bottled water, and everything ready as well. And if your medical kits, emergency kits ready, make sure to order your Chinese food and pizzas. And if your mobile internet ready, winds are going to get really gusty right now. It's getting higher in my area. And post-tropical cyclone Fiona as a hurricane, it's near Sydney, Nova Scotia. As of right now, it's no longer a tropical cyclone. It's a post-tropical cyclone. It's a hurricane. Winds are going to be so high, it's going to knock on power. In Sydney, Nova Scotia, that's where I'm at right now. Winds are so high right now. Winds are getting higher non-stop in my area. Winds are really high as of right now. Winds are going to be very high. I urge everyone in Nova Scotia to stay indoors because the winds are so high as right now. Be prepared. Be safe. And stay dry. Be safe. Don't get caught in a hurricane. Be safe. Hurricane Fiona struck Sydney, Nova Scotia. Did a lot of damage. Power's knocked out everywhere. And on Saturday, and there's those very slowly. It's going to be long haul extended power outages in my area. It's going to be a prolonged power outage. This is once in a lifetime event. It's climate change. It's going to get storms like this more than lots of times because of climate change happening around the world.
it won't be once in a lifetime. How much rain fell?
Oh, 50 to 100 millimeters of rain. And I got something else to say. Power's out in my house since Friday overnight and Saturday morning. It's ultra bad. It was so bad, caused a lot of damages and things like this. Aaron J. Jack met me in person the day before the storm hit Sydney, Nova Scotia. Aaron J. Jack, extreme meteorologist and storm chaser. He followed you on Facebook.
He's an extreme storm chaser. Did I hear that right? That's kind of cool. What?
How high?
What's classified as an extreme storm? How bad does it have to be?
Extreme storm chaser. That means he can chase tornadoes, hurricanes, things like this. He met me in person on Friday last week before Fiona hit Sydney, Nova Scotia. Fiona was mighty bad, did so much damage. It's going to be prolonged power outages and things like this. Trees are down, telephone poles snapped in half. It was so bad. Vancouver's well overdue for a magnitude 10 earthquake. People in Vancouver, you can't escape from major earthquakes forever.
Vancouver sucks. So, I mean, it could do with a pretty hefty earthquake, at least just to, reset a few areas. That doesn't mitigate the fact that Wolfman loves you. But Vancouver is overdue for an earthquake.
How many houses were destroyed in Sydney, Frankie?
Houses are damaged and roof blown off in some houses and everything. In Port of Baskerville, Flint, houses got destroyed and things like this. It was mighty bad.
How high was the ocean when it came up in Sydney?
It was a really high tides and everything. Knocked out power and everything. Veterans home in Glace Bay Hospital lost power and things like this. Westmount on the other side of Sydney Harbor from the boardwalk lost power completely.
What happened to your house? Was there any damage besides losing power?
No damage to my house.
What else can you say about the storm, Frankie? How are you eating food right now?
That means food getting ruined in freezers and fridges. People had to get their generators. The food is getting ruined in fridge and freezers. People throwing food away and things like this because of Fiona was one of the worst storms in history in my area.
What are you doing to eat food, Frankie?
I was at New Moon Restaurant yesterday and today I had supper there. Chinese food.
Nice. Have your Chinese food ready.
What's the best kind of Chinese food, Frankie?
I like chicken balls and rice.
Chicken balls and rice? Oh, classic, bud.
Chicken balls,
That's
rice,
good.
egg roll, and sugai.
You had your cell phone charged. You had your Chinese food ready. You had your Pepsis put aside. You were ready for the storm.
Frankie's always prepared. We know this.
Joey, do you think trees can feel pain?
They
A
better.
lot of trees are down, crippled the power line, snapped the telephone pole in half on the corner of Victoria Road and Broadway in Wendy Pier area. It was so bad. Everyone who was talking about Sydney, Nova Scotia, CNN, Al Jazeera, BBC, NHK in Japan, every news station in the world was talking about Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Can you see any damage from where you're standing? Anything that's damaged? Is there anything you can show us?
Yes, and I just posted on Facebook.
Well, I mean, like from right where you're standing, is there anything you can show us that looks like the storm happened?
Yes, and did you hear about that? And I'm sending you the pictures to Messenger.
Like
Okay,
I see
Frankie.
behind you that there's no leaves in the trees, for example.
No power.
For example, yeah, there's no street lights. There's
Okay.
some industrial looking place behind that has power inside.
Yeah, Frankie, if you turn your camera around, like what's in front of you? If you turn your camera around, what would we see?
That's what we're trying to get. We want to see.
In Sydney, did you hear about that? Great Canadian Dollar Store got no power.
Not a dollar store.
And the
A&W
Great Canadian
has
Dollar Store
power,
still
though.
got no power.
Suffering.
Freeman still got no power. Burns, Central Street got no power. Grill, Hut, Smitty's, Easy Financial, IG Management got no power either. So is the Easy Financial Services, and Fleet Physiotherapy got no power either. Same with PetSmart, any other store. Great Canadian Dollar Store, they have no power. So is Dooley's in Sydney, Nova Scotia got no power. Any old Triangle in Sydney, Nova Scotia got no power either.
I think it's actually comforting that Smitty's does not have power. Somehow that makes me feel better about the whole situation.
It's nice to see that A&W has power.
Yes,
so that people can get
A&W
their
has
team
power.
burgers.
And they sell grandpa burgers at the A&W, things like this. Total solar eclipse is taking place on Monday, April 8th, 2024 in Sydney, Nova Scotia. You'll be arriving in Sydney, Nova Scotia on Friday, April 5th.
We'll be coming. I hope the power's back on by then.
Well, we're going
That's
to be
2 years
turning the
away.
lights off for the eclipse anyway, so doesn't matter. Ha ha
Well,
ha.
that's true. I hope the power goes out so that it's dark or something.
Yeah, it'll just add more ceremony
The
to the
moon
whole eclipse
crosses over
thing.
the sun on Monday, April 8th, 2024. The moon crosses over the sun. You're coming down to Sydney. Brandon's coming down to Sydney. Imogen's coming down to Sydney. Compound Media, Gary and Dino, they're all coming down. Jason Marshall, Roger the Wild Child, Trey Campbell, Bass Guy, all these people.
Okay, do they know they're coming down, or are you just ordering them to?
Yes, and Donna Mantis, Julie Yeager, and things like this.
We all want to be there for the eclipse. I think it's a great idea.
I will be there for the eclipse 2024.
Monday, April
Well-
8th, 2024. Pete, you're
Stay
coming
at
down
the
to Sydney
Holiday
on-
Inn.
Because of Frankie alone, Sydney, Nova Scotia is going to have a pretty substantial bump in tourism on one day.
Who else is coming to Sydney, Nova Scotia? Gary and Dino.
So, Frankie, what shows have you been on recently? Like, we haven't talked for a month. What kind of what podcasts have you been on?
Compound Media related podcast, Bass Guy Show, and I was on another podcast called The Ghetto Basement, Owen Gonzalo. Owen Gonzalo and the Ghetto Basement Gaines coming down to Sydney on Monday, April 8th, 2024. They're arriving in Sydney on Friday, April 5th. for a total solar eclipse. A&G TV's coming down for that too.
How long do you think it'll be till there's power on in Sydney, Nova Scotia?
That means that they're gradually restoring. They're taking their time, and they had to deploy army. They got army in Sydney, Nova Scotia right now. They got military cleaned up. More military trucks on the way to Sydney because of that.
Oh my God!
Why? What are they doing?
Hurricane Fiona clearing trees and things like this.
Oh, I thought that's what loggers are for.
There's no logging left in Nova Scotia.
Okay, so there won't be any loggers. How about, just a guy with a chainsaw? I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of dads there.
Hey,
How many
come on!
dads
This is a hurricane.
I know, but if you're clearing
They got
trees off the road, then
they got
dads with
those-
chainsaws are perfectly equipped.
You see the Rick Ross video where he was like, he got quoted at it was like $1,000 per tree or something like that. He's like, nah, I'm telling my dude to go to the Home Depot, get the biggest chainsaw they got, and he cut down the trees himself. Like space for us farm animals. It's a good TikTok, YouTube clip.
Yeah, real
And
safe
got-
if you don't have any
and I
experience
got-
falling trees. Let's get
And
back
if
to
you're here
Frankie
about
here.
that, more army is on his way to Sydney, Nova Scotia, because of Fiona. They got their power trucks from Maine, New Brunswick, Quebec. Then they got power trucks come all the way from Ontario to Nova Scotia. They're helped to speed up to restore the power, things like this.
How many hurricanes have you been through, Frankie?
Hurricane Earl, September 4th, 2010. Hurricane Hortense, September 1996. And Hurricane Matthew, Thanksgiving Day, 2016 in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Hurricane Dorian on September the 7th, 2019. Hurricane Gustav in 2002. Hurricane Ivan in September 2004.
That's been a lot of hurricanes, and that used to be like a kind of a rare thing, and now it's just
And
normal.
Hurricane No in November 2007.
And not only is it normal, they're like American-style, powerful hurricanes.
And Hurricane Bill, August 23rd, 2009.
What about the one in 2004, I think it was?
Hurricane Ivan.
Right.
And
It's a lot of hurricanes.
Y'all ever wonder what it would feel like to be in an actual tree? I bet in the summer it would feel real nice, like sunbathed, and then in the winter it'd probably feel like really unpleasant. And then hurricanes and stuff, it'd probably just like, oh, what the hell going on?
On Monday, February 13th, 2017, Sydney, Nova Scotia had a massive blizzard that day. It was a mighty bad blizzard, brought 75 centimeters or so in one storm on Monday, February 13th, and the Tuesday, February 14th, 2017. Snowstorm was so bad, it was a winter hurricane causing blizzard conditions.
A nor'easter?
Yes, it's a bomb cyclone nor'easter. And did you hear about that south of down out west? They're causing a lot of Santa Ana winds in California right now, triggering a lot of fires in California. And did you hear about that? Hurricane Ian just hit Tampa, Florida, did so much damage to Fort Myers.
I have been seeing hurricane after hurricane.
And there's more typhoons going to develop sometime in October off the coast of Japan. That means bringing lots of thunderstorms and rain to Central America, South America, like Brazil and parts of Colombia and Venezuela and all these places. Northern Chile is really windy and desert and sandstorms, causing a lot of rain in UK this weekend coming and up around the parts of Europe. It's going to bring lots of showers and rain. And there's a cold front going through South Korea, North Korea, and Russia. This weekend coming, it's going to bring cold air in Vladivostok, Russia, and those places. And Cape Town, South Africa is going to bring warm air, cold air fighting each other. Then they got a really, really cold air heading for New Zealand late next week because the weather pattern is going to change there. Possible Invercargill, New Zealand. Winter's not letting up in Invercargill, New Zealand because their summer's in another few months away.
There was a magnitude 4 earthquake in Prince George recently. Where else have there been earthquakes, Frankie?
Mexico had a 7.5 magnitude earthquake, did so much damage in Mexico.
When was the earthquake in Prince George? Was that just like this week or what?
Oh, like 10 days ago or something like that now, I think.
Really?
At about 6 kilometer depth, magnitude 4. Everyone felt it, but no real big deal.
It's confirmed.
Damn.
Hurricane Fiona is a historic storm that struck Sydney, Nova Scotia. Hurricane Fiona was a historic storm in my area.
You are listening to the Comedeorological Report, comedy and meteorology. This is the funniest show about weather that's ever existed. Frankie MacDonald on the line right now talking about Hurricane Fiona. I'm Joey Only, your host in Wells, British Columbia. We got Pete Galenko down in Colorado, Imogen Cookie Bailey, who's down in Victoria, and I think Brandon Hauk is not totally absorbed with hockey right now. Brandon Hauk, are you with us still? Oh, he's giving us the 1 minute finger.
Dear Lord, Brandon just put us on hold. He's ginger monster.
He's producing a hockey game right now, and he's doing it with one finger, so that's with one hand. He cut his finger off with a lawnmower.
We're good. Hello.
Brandon could claim to be an amputee, but he does not.
No, it's the finger's still there.
War amps Brandon.
Just
Brandon is now crippled effectively.
So tell us about Brooks Bandits hockey, and tell us about the weather so far. It looks like it's been pretty warm in Alberta this last month. Talk to us about the whole, everything. I seen you dressed as a chicken sitting in the mayor's chair.
Dump the chicken. Where am I? I don't know where I am. But we have some incredible things for Montana's chicken. We've got your wigs, and how about some incredible gift cards as well. Oh, so much fun. Woo!
And Brooks there, you've been having a time, man. And you're getting promotions.
Yeah, so we've had very warm weather this week. We've actually fairly close to breaking records, actually. 30 degrees, above 30. I'm loving it because, this day 3 years ago, we had 20 to 30 centimeters of snow. And I'm glad I'm not dealing with that this year. I'm wearing shorts instead. So Alberta weather, typical. And the weather's actually been pretty good this whole month with the temperatures above average. We've only had one frost so far. So it's been pretty pleasant for the whole month of September. Not much in the way of active weather either. So it's been, as I say, fairly pleasant. Yes, I am doing the chicken thing this month, promoting for Montana's, giving away $100 gift cards for a night out. If anybody can guess where the Doppler chicken is sitting at, as in the mayor's chair today. And the other day it was beside a dinosaur and beside the aqueduct. Or tomorrow, tomorrow we'll be actually in this hockey arena here, or at the hockey arena. So I'm going to be doing the chicken dance in the hockey arena, just so it could be awkward. But
they'll be able to guess. If they've seen our show, they'll be able to successfully guess where you are and possibly win a $100 gift certificate for Montana's.
Yeah, if they watch
anywhere else in Sydney, Hong Kong Restaurant, Nova Scotia Provincial Building in Sydney, Nova Scotia, and some of those other places got no power still, and Big Ben's convenience stores got no power and things like this. Some of those got no power too.
Pass for Nathan Free, checked by Roberts. The Thunder.
Brandon, can you? I know you're tight for time here. Can you just tell us about where weather is going in Western Canada for our listeners in Winnipeg? What you see is coming for listeners in British Columbia, Alberta. What do you see coming for weather?
Well, the weather for us in Alberta is not going to be changing too much. We're going to see temperatures probably low 20s well into next week. So if you want a tropical party, Alberta's the place to be. Meanwhile, Manitoba will be on the cold side of the high pressure system. So we'll see temperatures daytime highs in only single digits. And for our friends up in northern Manitoba, okay, off the post. We hit the post. Oh, okay, we're fine.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so Manitoba might see a few flurries next week in northern parts for our friends Joe and Churchill, Manitoba. So Joe will be very happy about that, I must say. He's going to like flurries.
And how about us in British Columbia still?
British Columbia will also be dealing with pretty pleasant weather. Some a little unsettled at times, but kind of typical as you go. No big storm, but temperatures at least low to mid teens, low 20s, looking pretty pleasant for next week, especially in.
I would say unusually warm. And while we have you, before you're distracted and before we move on to Pete and to Imogen, can you just tell us who the pictures are on the wall of Real Country Radio station there?
Okay.
The right side.
So,
Out to center ice.
which pictures?
Well, which stars you got?
David James here.
Coming from Centennial,
Brett
Colorado.
Kissel.
Fire
He's
has
been
Never
here.
heard of him. Is that a country star?
slow down. Koshak will help it.
Who's these guys?
It's Keeble the other way.
High Valley.
He looks at the referee.
Ethan
Skipping off the
Rennie.
snow on his jersey.
Ryan Lard.
Not sure what happened there.
Yeah, Burns
Oh, yeah.
split out in triple.
Clayton Walker.
Thunder offside here on the right.
Brooks Bandits. Oh, I'm on the wall too.
Nice. Nice. That's star power.
Yeah.
Thunder
Gotta have me on the wall.
Hey, Joey.
With 3 points on the year.
Brendan.
Second year forward.
Okay.
If you have anything left to say, Brandon, if anyone has any questions for Brandon, we're going to have to mute him in a second because the background radio makes conversation with anyone else impossible. But while we have Brandon, who's got a question for him?
Thunder has possession.
Nothing weather related, but the big question is, Brandon, how did you get so damn sexy?
Far side for Brooks end.
That'd be because I'm on the radio right now, and I tend to get sexier by the time I go on the air. So that's how it works here.
There is the on-air appeal, but beyond that, is it something you worked at, or is it something more you're genetically predisposed towards?
I walk every day.
Your mining of walking is delightful. It's beautiful.
I think that you could probably go 2 years without walking and you still weigh like $120.
I actually got weighed the other day on like 58 pounds or something. Yeah.
58 pounds.
Yeah, 120 seemed like an overestimate, man.
Well, really good to have you, Brandon. And when your next period comes on before we're out of here, we'd like to get some last comments from you, of course.
Yeah. By the way, we're up 1-0 so far. So we scored. So we're up 1-0. And I'll probably pop back on here for intermission because that's when I'm going to be actually on the air.
Behind the Thunder net, looking at double.
Excellent. Okay, we'll talk to you soon, Brandon.
Say hi, Joey only.
What's up?
What's up? Say hi, Joey only.
Hi. Hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey. Say hi, Joey only.
Hi, Joey.
only. I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to Comedian Meteorological Weather Report, Caribou Weather Dude on every Thursday night at 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Caribou Weather Dude, Comedian plus Meteorology. That's Comedian Meteorological Weather Report. Joey Only of Wales, British Columbia. You can check out Joey Only's weather channel on YouTube. You can listen to his weather reports and his show. And I'm on Joey Only Show every Thursday night at 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to Joey Only Show every Thursday night's Comedian Meteorological Weather Report.
What's up? Mike. What's up, Joey? What's up?
Pete, give us an update. What are you doing, bud?
Ding.
What's new with you? Unmute yourself, Pete, you tool.
I don't know, but anyway, I've been driving Lyft. I've taken a few days off. I drove a little bit today, but I've been driving every day for the past like 5 months straight, every day. I've been meeting so many people though. It's really awesome. I really enjoy it.
What's one of the weirdest things you've had in your car? Like, have you ever had like a total chud get in the back of your car?
Oh yeah, total chud. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call anybody out, you know. I don't mind.
I want you to.
Like, everybody that I've driven has paid. I haven't had to give a refund to anybody, so it's just like I don't want to insult anybody that I've driven because they paid money to be driven.
That's fair.
And I've driven like 1,500 people now, so maybe close to 2,000.
So you can't make a veiled reference to something really ridiculous that you saw in your car in a way that maintains privacy?
Part of what people are paying for is to be themselves and get into a vehicle, right? So it's like...
Yes.
Yeah, part of it. And then some people are just tired and want to get to the airport. And some people just want to get home after work or want to get to work. And there's not much drama. And then sometimes it's a little bit more exciting and there's stuff going on. But I can't think of a specific story right now, to be honest with y'all, of exactly, I don't know, anything that was the most exciting.
I think one of us needs to go down to Boulder, Colorado, And then
come to Boulder, Colorado. Also come to Aurora, Thornton, Westminster, Denver. I
won't
swear
tell
to God,
Pete.
Aurora and Thornton is like little Mexico of the United States. I swear to God.
We won't tell Pete that we're coming, and then we'll order an Uber drive. And then once he comes for an Uber, then we'll rip him off and stiff him so that finally someone will have done it.
No one has stiffed me so far. No one has stiffed me so far.
He's usually the one getting stiffed.
A lot of
Just
digital
saying.
tips.
I'm going to be the
No one has
first.
stiffed me so far. And I've gotten a few bad reviews, but I don't want to sound ignorant, but those bad reviews often weren't my fault. A lot of those were just that there weren't enough drivers online, or they requested the lift too late. And I just had to complete somebody else's drive first. And then I have missed some bad. I mean, there are sometimes the intersections are much more complicated in Colorado than Virginia. So
complicated intersections.
I've gone the long way more than once, to be honest, but it is what it is.
They haven't killed anybody.
Exactly. And I haven't scratched my car up either. So I haven't scratched my car, I haven't killed anybody, I haven't got in an accident, and I got over 20,000 miles on my car in about 6 months. So that's pretty good.
So I'm going to come down there and I'm going to rip you off so that somebody finally will have done so. And it's like, I'm going to come all the way down there. You know, that costs a lot of money just to rip you off. So think about the commitment I made.
I'll find a way to rip you off as well, though.
I bet you will, you capitalist.
Yeah.
Have you had someone puke in your car?
I had someone puke outside of my car.
Okay, so they made it out the window in time.
They made it out the window in time and they cleaned it up. It was a dude a few weeks ago, and it was his bachelor party, and he was coming from a strip club, and he paid me $100 because he puked, and he puked out the window. And it was kind of a depressing drive, to be honest with y'all. He asked
$300
for
watching a guy
he asked for some Slipknot songs, and then he asked for, what is that band called? In the end, it doesn't even matter. Linkin Park. What's it called? But I was like, these are very depressing songs for the day of your wedding, is like what my impression was. I didn't say that to him. But he puked out the window of my car.
Yeah, that's a dude who saw some ugly strippers and doesn't like his wife. That's what you saw. That's a guy who's about to be beaten down by life.
Hey, Joey, I got something to say. Here's the pictures of the Hurricane Fiona damage at Sydney, Nova Scotia. Here's Victoria Road and the pier. It was really
humble people.
Look at a snapped telephone pole on the by the Cape.
However,
on the corner of Victoria Road and Broadway. That's another. And here's it again. It's right down. Look at a telephone pole.
How fast does wind have to go to break a telephone pole, Frankie?
Extremely fast.
Does it help if it's shark infested?
That's the corner of Victoria Road and Broadway. It's right here. Really, really, really bad.
Wow, look at that wind. There's so much of it.
Look at the telephone pole.
Look at
That was a telephone pole. Now it's not. Now it's an X-telephone pole. How did that one break? Just the speed of the wind broke that?
Extreme wind broke that. It was really bad. Snapped the telephone pole in half.
That's got to be like over 160 kilometers per hour.
Yes.
I mean, how fast does it take to break a telephone pole like that?
Extremely fast. It was a historic storm in my hometown of Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Well, I mean, I don't think wind alone would do it. It's got to whip something into it. Otherwise, all the poles would be knocked over. So I'm curious what hit it. Like, was it an actual cow? Was it a fat lady? Was it a pickup truck? Was it a bunch of seagulls?
Well, it could be just a isolated gust, right? Just a finger that goes.
Area. It was so bad. Extreme widespread power outages in my area. It was mighty bad. Dangers. It was a destructive winds in my area. Last weekend, Friday night and Saturday, it was destructive winds, causing telephone poles to split like this.
Those were nice trees, and they're gone now.
They're flipped over.
Nobody was hurt, though, right, Frankie?
Look at a telephone pole.
That's a pole. Blurry pole. Awesome.
Look
Be
at
nice,
Fisher Street
you.
in Sydney.
I am.
Look at the
That poor
damage.
town.
Look at the street down on Fisher Street in Sydney.
My God.
Nobody
the
was
white all
hurt,
seem
Frankie?
Blurry.
It was really bad.
The storm made everything really blurry.
It did.
That's
Look
what it
at
would.
that.
That's what it would have been like during the storm. Actually, it would have been very
Everything
blurry.
would have been blurry.
That's
That's
true.
that's after the storm. Look at the damage. Look at this.
Well, God, look at that.
Hey, language.
What?
Wait.
Okay, is that seriously on the no-no list?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
come on. CRTC rules.
Look at the damage
No.
there.
The D word is the bad word on the CRTC.
What?
I don't know, but we got 1 hour to not swear. Is it that much to ask for all of our lives? 1
Yes.
hour a week.
What were my last words before we went online? Before we started doing the clean version? What's the last thing I said?
And it was, I'll be really good, Joey. You're beautiful. I think Joey's the coolest.
That must be it.
If I were to get married, I would choose you,
I
Joey.
think Joey is the sexiest, coolest, richest man in the entire world, is what you're thinking.
It was
Pretty sure
a
you said
Joey
that.
Love Fest, much like a typical Friday night when the sailors are in town. A Joey Love Fest happens.
There's no sailors here in the mountains. I live 4,000 feet above
They
the ocean.
travel for you, Joey.
No sailors.
They make
Nice
the trip
try,
'cause you're
Berna.
worth it.
Sir,
Joey,
These are
for
worth
real
it.
though, have you seen the documentary, the Pirate Radio documentary? The documentary Pirate Radio is about, like, I didn't watch it fully. I just watched the trailer, but it's about.
so you haven't
people
watched
that
it, but you want to talk about it.
Oh yeah, hold up. Wait a second.
I like where this is going.
Like, it's about they made a unincorporated radio station, and they just like built the stuff to put it on the radio without any type of corporate guidance whatsoever. So basically, we could put this like, if there's some unused FM radio wavelength, we could buy the stuff to broadcast FM radio and broadcast it on an additional FM wavelength if we really wanted to.
Yeah, man.
And wherever we
karaoke
wanted,
machine, a
anywhere
transmitter.
in the world.
Well, it doesn't quite work like that, but in Canada,
It does
but
work
also
like that.
Okay, hold on.
You can
Also,
buy that
there's, like-
technology from China. I guarantee you. I know the people
There's-
from China. We can broadcast FM radio in
Yeah, you
any
can.
region of the world, however we want. Doesn't matter
You know-
the government regulations. As long as there's an electricity power source, we can do it. Like,
Have you
it
seen-
doesn't.
karaoke
have you
like,
seen where I
it
live
might
on
not
the
be
map,
legal in some countries because some countries have laws about language. But honestly, it doesn't even matter if the laws.
No, it's
exist
not
or
just about language.
because
It's about how much bandwidth you're using. But also, in order to
bandwidth.
have,
But I mean,
in order
it's
to-
really
in
about
order
the
to-
electricity for FM radio.
in order to broadcast enough so that anybody in the world could hear it, we would require too much power, and we would be superseding what you are allowed to broadcast at under the Canadian Radio Telecommunications Act.
Allowed to.
Yeah, we're talking pirate radio, Joe. That doesn't count.
Yeah, but every
Transmit
pirate radio
and
station,
karaoke
every
machine
pirate
and
radio
roll.
station in Canada is a micro station in an urban place.
Anything is allowed on pirate radio.
Hey,
Yeah, anything goes, man.
You just plug that.
Oh,
into
Nobody would
a
hear it
power
here.
outlet.
Clearly,
I would have to have a lot of electricity to broadcast enough for anyone to actually hear it.
Well, perhaps the funds could be risen. We could perhaps raise the funds. We could start a GoFundMe, and you could get a portion of the funds.
Damn transmitter, and depends on your hacking abilities to ping it off where you need it to ping off it. So
Exactly. Imogen knows her stuff real well.
Imogen has a colorful background.
But I'm already on a radio
Imogen knows
station.
exactly
We're
what
on
she's talking
CKUW
about.
95.9 FM and CFUR 88.7 FM. That's what we're doing right now is we're making a radio
All right,
show.
don't
Hello.
run across
We're making a
the
radio show right
stations that
now.
already carry us. That's
Okay,
And
fair
you're
enough.
asking me to break the law, the radio
I'm not asking you
telecommunications
to.
law on radio.
We're not asking you to. We're telling
some
you it's a
fanciful
very
idea.
easy to do
I'm just
for
saying
those
that
who
we
are
could break
inclined.
the law.
I'm not
whether
gonna start
the
an FM radio
stations like it or
channel.
not.
Nobody would listen to it here. Nobody lives
You're
here.
not going
People would
to.
listen to it probably. They might even listen to it more just because it was illegal to listen to it.
I'm 80 kilometers from a grocery store, dude.
Naughty radio stations might get a little bit of traffic.
We can barely get the big radio stations from town out here because of the hills.
And then when the hours in the
They suck.
meteorological
Great.
report isn't on, I bet Imogen would have a lot of people that would post.
But I'm on 2 radio stations. That's what we're doing right now. Hello, we're making a radio show. Okay, that's what we're doing.
Right, what's the call sign?
We don't need to make a radio station because we're on 2 of them.
What's the call sign again, Joey? What
All
stations
right,
are we on?
If you are 88.7
radio
FM,
is a good
CKW
documentary.
95.9 FM in Prince George and Winnipeg. All right. I've been fighting forest fires for the last month and some. That's what I do. If you want to see the video version of this show, us and how bizarre we actually are, comedians and meteorologists as we are, you can tune into Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude, my YouTube channel. That's where we put the show up. That's where we're broadcasting live right now for anybody who wants to, who's putting up with it. Thank you for listening to our live stream. And yeah, that's.
Thank you for having nothing else to do right now.
That's sort of my spiel, I think. So I was fighting fires.
What's going on in Russia, in Ukraine?
Michael Stankoff was fine the last time I talked to him. He was just wanting me to register a new tax ID in the United States. And me, programmer Antone, is doing all right. And I mean, it hasn't ended there yet, though. Hopefully there's an end in sight, but no major news updates that I have, at least. Other people might have, but anyway.
We couldn't make a radio show for like 5 weeks because I was fighting forest fires. Because
Let's hear more detail. I want to hear more details about your forest fire fighting.
Finally, does anybody have any questions for Joey?
Why did you start so many forest fires?
Yes, tell us, what is the procedure when you approach a forest fire? Like, what do you do? What do you see a giant forest fire on blaze, and you walk up or drive up or walk up to it, and you see it? Like, what is your reaction? What do you do?
Wow, run away, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the question that a lot of people are wondering is, at what temperature does a raccoon turn into a Roman candle?
There is a certain temperature at which things will start combusting. Even raccoons off gas. And actually, I'm known to go towards fire. That's true, but I mean, kind of an open question is like, has anything been done, or is this just straight up a fire happening out of the blue, right? So if it's just one that's out of the blue, I've definitely been like, Prince George Fire Center, this is Brave One. Yeah, we have new ignition. Here's your coordinates. Seems to be near Cheslata Falls. I've been that guy before. Then you're going to have a whole process of assessing what's going on, how big it is, how fast it's moving, what kind of fuel's there, how we're going to set a hose lay in, where's water, areas that are burnt through, how safe are the trees to work under. So there's a lot of things that go on before you even start hosing things, right? So we tend to be very safe here in Canada. And hey, it's just trees. If it's going to burn, if it's, that's sometimes you're going to step back a little bit. There was no stepping back this year. It was all pushing in. So fire behavior was not that aggressive anywhere it went, really. Not extreme, at least, like some of the instances I saw last year.
The fires were more gentle. They were delicate.
Well, yeah.
Outage in my hometown of Sydney. It's the longest power outage ever in my lifetime from Hurricane Fiona.
I think they should have called it Hurricane Frankie.
Frankie's way too gentle for that kind of thing to be named after him.
Has there ever been a hurricane named Frankie?
Typhoon Frankie that hit somewhere in Western Pacific Ocean in 1996.
1996. All right. There should be another one named Frankie.
And when I put Hurricane and Frankie in Google, all I get is videos of Frankie talking about Fiona. So I think we should rename it.
Well, that's just because Frankie is more famous than a lot of hurricanes.
Hurricane Frankie.
Frankie's definitely more likable.
Wait a minute.
That's for sure. Frankie's more likable than any hurricane.
Aaron J. Jack.
What's that, Frankie?
I met
Hurricane Frankie.
Extreme storm chaser Aaron J. Jack in person.
Hurricane Frankie. I vote we change the name. Hurricane Frankie. Hey, Brandon right now is he's talking on the air.
So what a goal from Elliot Dutil at 5:40 in the first period there, making it 1-0 Bandits. As the period went along, the Bandits would yet again get another goal. Here we go. Brendan Mayer's first goal of the season at 16:43, making it 2-0 Bandits after one period of play. Coming up next, we've got second period action right here. Bandits Hockey, Real Country 105.7.
Solutions knows with the high price of it's important to minimize risk.
Are we allowed to broadcast another radio station?
We're allowed to do whatever we want.
Oh yeah, says the guy who just defended CRTC and gave us all hell for saying pirate radio is awesome and how easy it is to do.
I wasn't just giving trouble. I was saying it's a redundant conversation to be having on a radio station about starting our own radio station when we're being broadcast. Thank you to the radio stations who are broadcasting us. We're very thankful. It's very kind of you to broadcast us.
I found out even Brandon were talking about Hurricane Fiona.
Hurricane Frankie, you mean? Because we're renaming it.
Why would you want to name it after Frankie? Name something good after him.
Because he's more powerful than a hurricane.
No, he'll rock you like a hurricane. Very different things. You know this.
It's close enough. My fire season, we went up to Burns Lake and dealt with a lightning-caused fire there, which was 16 hectares, I think that one was.
How big is a hectare?
We hit that one up. It's 4 acres. We hit that one up with the help of some Northern Initial Fire Attack crew and also the Telquah Rangers unit crew. That was really amazing. I got videos about that on my YouTube. Then we came back from that. We're put on standby for a little while, responded to lightning-caused fire by 150 Mile House, put that out. Then we had a very action-exciting one outside Williams Lake, about 100 kilometers, well, maybe 75 kilometers west of Williams Lake. And that was exciting. We had the air tractors put a whole show on for us there. When we got there, nothing had been done. It was rank 4 action going on, rank 3-4 already in the morning. So that was probably the most exciting one. And when we finally wrapped that fire up, then we went up to Mackenzie, British Columbia, and stomped another one out there. And we were planning to be sent to Battleship Mountain Fire after that, but then a big rainstorm came through the piece and through the Rocky Mountains in that area, and it basically wiped out the logging roads that go into the Battleship Mountain Fire, and the 75 millimeters of rain or something like that came down in there or more. Pretty much put that fire under control in a sense, at least, put fire behavior down to a point where it stopped being a big issue. So a late fire season for our crew, but lots of good times, lots of fun. It's definitely a withdrawal for me to come out of fire season. It's being a crew boss. I have a lot of usefulness every minute of the day. I'm doing something that matters for the most part. The camaraderie of being with the crew, pretty fun stuff. So if you do get a chance to go Joey Only Caribbean Weather Dude YouTube and see some of the fire videos I'm putting up of our crew, you might get some laughs. That was some good times. So that's been my last 5 weeks or so. Sorry, there's been no radio show, but it's impossible for me to make a radio show and be a crew boss. Even if I could guarantee that I'd be out of the bush in time, and we were putting 14-hour days in on the Burns Lake fire, for example, just impossible for me to function, eat food, and try to make a radio show, and it wasn't going to happen. So thanks everyone for
forensic fire. Does that mean somebody died in a fire?
I guess so. That'd be a structural term. Or fire forensics might be just the cause of fire, and the burn pattern maybe is what you mean. So the forensics of the fire, what was the behavior of the fire?
Yeah, that's the finer points of what made it happen, how it behaved. Yeah, fire behavior from start to finish. That's what the forensics would refer to.
The one we had a lightning strike that literally split the tree, and you could visibly see that's where the fire started and crawled out of. Definitely had some action at points. So thank you to everybody at CKUW and CFUR for who puts a radio show on. Thank you for keeping us on and being patient, because the school year starts and you have reruns. It kind of sucks on our behalf to have our show not represented right away off the top of the school year. But I was doing things that mattered, and yeah.
Starting fires.
So was Hurricane Frankie, and Imogen was riding on horses.
Welcome back, Joey. Thank you for starting all the forest fires and, consequently putting them out.
That was me.
Josh just fell in a ditch. It's always good when you can't guy falls in a ditch.
Did the head go up like this?
Hey, there's a little horse with a human. There's a horse with a human. Hey, it's Frankenberry riding a horse. I'm Count Chocula, walking with horses.
Dressed as Count Chocula.
I was. You know what? We had ridiculously good weather for this time of year. It was milk chocolate days and hot cocoa nights and just nothing but chocolate truffle horse riding. So yeah, I got to ride horses and hike by waterfalls and take Morbo out to climb a mountain. Got to go for a hike in the rain. It was awesome. That's what I've been doing.
Another sunny day in paradise. I'm Count Chocula on top of a horse. And as I am wearing chocolate pants, riding a chocolate horse, this is serial camouflage. There's Frankenberry in the background waving his approval of the chocolate horse. On a bright sunny day on the west coast, another glorious day in paradise. And there is another horse over there. And there's another horse over there. Look at that. Flock of horses and monsters roaming through some rural part of town. See you on the show.
You're welcome. Might have blown fire a couple times. Did not start a forest fire. No, just, yeah, good weather and my usual pointless antics. So,
just dead silence from everybody on the panel.
How do you respond to that? Like, can anyone relate to that kind of crap? Stop. Sorry.
Pete's away on the phone, and Brandon's
on the radio.
Consumed with the radio.
Yeah, you and Frankie don't have serial monster alter egos. Y'all don't go out.
And Frankie is just smiling and smiling, and see.
You know what? I actually had a kind of wild, awesome weekend where I was doing security at a music festival. So, just music festival is always a weird environment, and then when you work like 23-hour days. Not all doing security, but doing a couple of different things, but it amounts to being like 20 minutes of sleep across like 4 days. The whole landscape gets insane and surreal. And when you're at a music festival where everything's already insane and surreal, then it's so much fun. And then all of a sudden it's 7 a.m, you're on an empty lot dressed as a cereal monster and you have no idea what happened before, how you got there. And then all of a sudden you're hiking a mountain with a hairless cat. That's not stuff most people can relate to. So yeah.
Doesn't seem that unusual to me, but I understand that it's not usual.
It's not the standard. And
yeah.
So okay, so I'm seeing.
You're talking to a guy who's got Star Wars toys hanging from his ceiling and moose heads behind him.
Now, like, okay, so I'm seeing a new girl, and she doesn't know the scope of the insane that is my life. Like, she doesn't know the breadth of the circus. So introducing her to stuff in little tiny bits. Because everything I say has to be explained, or it needs the strange words, the weird phrases, references to goofy things. Explanations always required. So I'm just like really quiet. So I'm very, very quiet around her right now, and she thinks that I don't like her, and it's funny as anything.
Yeah, that when I'm trying to talk to normal humans, I realize like I am not a normal human. It's obvious.
Same Z's. When you say being quiet, I think of the song by Gucci Mane by Being Quiet, and that is not a normal human being song.
You and the Gucci Man every time, but it's like it's like having to explain everything because they just have
every person that I drive and lift has to see Gucci Mane because I have a Gucci Mane air freshener, so that everybody sitting in the back seat has to look at it.
Brandon Hauk, any last comments from Brooks Bryant? It's before the second period starts.
So second period has already started, and we just got another goal, so it's 3-0 now. So we're winning. That's what we are doing right now.
As we've seen Wallace do.
Good times in Brooks, Alberta. Thanks for coming on the show, Brandon. It's hard because you have to listen to the radio station. It's hard having you part of the conversation and not be muted because you need to be able to hear your show.
Yeah. Multitasking at its finest.
He needs to be able to hear his show, but we don't need to be able to hear his show, unfortunately.
No, but it's just a little special treat. It's like getting extra marshmallows in your Count Chocula, in your cereal. That's what Brandon brings, extra marshmallows.
Brandon Houck and Brooks, Alberta, we're very lucky to have him, the weatherman himself, radio man, always a pleasure. Pete Galenko down there in Colorado, driving for Uber. He's used to be from Virginia, but now he's in
Lyft.
You keep saying Uber, but it's not Uber.
I can't tell the difference. I've never used any of these car things.
A lot of people get into my car and be like, "Oh, you're my Uber driver."
Yeah, it's like Netflix.
Yeah, I am.
Netflix is the word for all streaming services. Uber is the word for all, I don't know, rental hose, driving hose, or whatever.
From what I know, that Lyft drivers get paid more than Uber drivers, even though Uber is more popular, is all I know. But I don't know if that's even true or not because I haven't tried Uber.
It's like everyone calls transparent tape Scotch tape, right? Yeah. But Scotch tape is a brand. There's only one Scotch tape. So if I said, it's like Uber is kind of like that, right? Like I don't know how many car things I live out in the mountains. I had to hitchhike home from the city the other day because I left my truck at the friggin' lot. So that's Pete Galenko. And we got Imogen Cookie Bailey down in Victoria. Thanks for coming on the show, horse riding, crazy cowgirl you. And Frankie MacDonald, Hurricane Frankie himself. It's the man we call the Hurricane, Frankie MacDonald.
My Twitter is @Frankie McDean. My Facebook is Frankie Down. My Instagram is Frankie McDean 984. My TikTok is Frankie Down 984. My Clapper is Frankie Down 984. My Twitch is Frankie Down 984. My YouTube channel is Dogs and Wolves. My LinkedIn is Frankie Down, and my Snapchat is Frankie AMCDOA. Earthquake Frankie since 2010.
Frankie's got such a gret rhythm to that. Like when Frankie rattles off his link tree, I'm always like, he's got his own rhythm, and I want to see him songified because it's just so relaxing.
Earthquake
love
Frankie
it.
since June 2010.
So if anyone wants to make a 10-hour video of Frankie just reciting his link tree,
this has been the Comedeorological Report. I've been your host, Joey Only. Hopefully we see you next week. If not, the weather has done something bad. Okay, bye now.
Say hi, Joey Only.
Hi, Joey.
I'm Frankie Down. You're listening to Comedian Meteorological Weather Report with Joey Only every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Atlantic Time. Every Thursday night, comedian plus meteorology, Caribou Weather Dude, Joey Only, that lives in Wales, British Columbia. And Joey Only's a really, really great guy. He does the weather reports. And Joey Only's a really, really nice guy. You can follow Joey Only on YouTube, Caribou Weather Dude. Joey Only, he's a really nice guy. He lives in Wales, British Columbia. He fights fires and forest fires and things like this. Joey Only's a really nice dude. I'm Frankie Down. You're listening to Comedian Meteorological Weather Report, Caribou Weather Dude, Joey Only. I'm Frankie Down. Say hi, Joey Only.
Hi, Joey Only.
Say hi, Joey Only.
Hi, Joey Only.